Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another Scioncraft. This is the second cast of the day for me. And when I was looking through the series, I remembered that Mixu vs Kytrion looked interesting. I was about to say why it looked interesting, but then I realized that would be a spoiler. So I'm deciding not to do that. So here we are, spawning in the Genetron pool. A mirror matchup of Genetron versus Genetron, spawning in the top right hand corner of this map. What's it called? White Rabbit LE. Ladder edition. We have, playing with the red Genetron ACRs, we have Kytrion. And his opponent, playing in the blue, from Clan Lem, we have Mixu. Also playing with Genetron ACRs. I do not know what ACR stands for. I should ask Solstice. But builds, they were looking identical. They are not anymore, as Kytrion has decided to take a gas. He'll immediately transfer workers into it and start rallying into the low ground. Mixu, taking a similar build to what I would take, with more of a kind of 17 Nexus approach, that similar to Protoss build orders. The expansion reasonably quicker, but without any gas just yet. Filtering plant is on the way, but it is not like Mixu particularly needs gas unless he wishes to go for a fabricator, which is now available. But if he wants to go for blitzes or something else of the sort, an analysis terminal is what you need, which he has building at the natural. Whereas our red Genetron player, decided to go for that gas, and thus, as you can see, has now opted to go for a fabricator instead. It's actually really cool to see the small difference in build orders that you can just change like this. 1 second. Yeah, anyways. It's really cool to see a small change in build orders from these players that results in these deviations rather, in the tech tree. It's cool. It definitely tells you the kind of stuff you need to be scouting for in these matchups. Normally as a Genetron I would go for something more like what Mixu has gone for, because I believe in the power of the manufacturer units in the early game. But it really depends on what you prefer. You don't need to do that. If you prefer to play with some of these juicy fabricator units, obviously you want to go for something similar, more similar to what Kytrion has done here. But it does mean other vital aspects of your tech tree are delayed, and as we can see, Mixu's going straight into the assembly array. You do not need a fabricator to go into the starport equivalent. You need a relay tower, which costs minerals. We can see, if we look at the tech tree, manufacturer, analysis terminal, where is it? Relay tower. This is a tech building. Once you get the, you can make an analysis terminal from the get-go, which is kind of like a cybernetics core for these units here. It unlocks the blitzers. These are outfitting stations, but the blitzer is kind of like a stalker, right? With Antia. But after you finish the manufacturer, you can go into a relay tower, which unlocks most of the buildings here, although the fabricator itself is unlocked by the manufacturer, so it's a separate, it starts to branch off there, and then you can go into the assembly array as well. Although the tech vault, I believe, is only, wait, no it is not, never mind. The relay tower is the most important bit. The relay tower also has its own function, which is, it functions as a recharging point. It's a relay tower. So it's kind of in the name. You can put one of these bad boys on the map. It's only 100 minerals, and you get to recharge your energy over there. Of course, instead you could bring the portable processors, which is what Kytrion seems to be going for, as he now moves across the map with 2 torrents, mole, and a good number of Spitfires. Here you go, here's the processor. Mixu opted to go for a Hornet. is going to probably send that to harass the mineral line. They're waiting on the top of this ramp. This is a more important engagement about to happen. Waiting on top of the ramp is the blitzers. Supercharge is activated. Only one supercharge is used so far. Okay, more supercharges are used. Torrents throw up the lunar mines into the air as the army moves forward, but the mole is now gone. Without the mole here, these lunar mines will have a very hard trouble accomplishing much. Kytrion continues to advance. Starts to poke at this analysis token, but by the time you eventually make your way forward with these lunar mines, Mixu's just going to have too many blitzes, so the lunar mines are taken out, as are some of the Spitfires, and Kytrion decides to go back home. A bunch of workers run away from home. They're very, very scared. Now they make their way back. Oh no. That's so unfortunate. Anyway, Hornet in the main base, wreaking some havoc, as we can see. It's gotten 6 kills anyway, but the Torrent will pop out and start telling it to get off the lawn.
Get off my property. You yokels aren't allowed here.
Honestly though, this the Genitron faction is probably a lot less like that. Probably more like these are the kind of the clean, futuristic Terran race, although they are purely robotic. Whereas Terran's kind of like hillbilly, cowboy, janky kind of vibe. These ones are much kind of like a feels like a much cleaner, not rust bucket. You know, like a well put together force. As we see, Mixu is now moving his way into the natural of his opponent. Although Kytrion is prepared to defend with a whole chunk of Spitfires as well as some blitzers and some lunar mines. Blitzers are starting to get cleaned up though by these lunar mines, and Mixu's going to have to pull back. Were another 6 workers killed just then? Another 6 workers were in fact killed just then. Although 2 workers on the other side were also killed. Actually no, there were workers that were brought for repairs. So not on the other side, it was on Kytrion's side. As Mixu has now pulled in quite a decent lead, as we can see, almost 60 workers to 40 workers. The third base for Kytrion isn't even complete yet, whereas Mixu's is completed and saturated, apart from the gases. Ground plating level 1 is now on the way here for Mixu. He does not have attack, but his opponent is making many Spitfires, so it seems Mixu really understands actually what's going on here in terms of the attacks and the matchups in this faction so far. Mole gets targeted down, and the Torrents throw up their lunar mines, but there are way too many blitzes here. So Blitzkrieg is on, yeah. That is what these guys are for. They're kind of like little mini robot tanks, right? Yeah, they just Blitzkrieged through that army. 11 workers do go down, however, because Mixu did end up pulling them to defend that attack. Still ahead though, in the workers, and in the army, well, that's just not very good. Floating many minerals is Kytrion, although both players are keeping their energy fairly low. I say that as I should really be concentrating more on this power resource, because it's very important, especially in GVG, very important that it's getting used. Yeah, Mixu is really trying to make the most out of these mining priorities. He's using them constantly. I say that he's not using them on his other bases, only this one has it active right now. Yeah. I don't see... There's a mining priority on actually in the main base. They're very good, very important. Looks like Kytrion, however, does have a lot more energy generation. So his floating is a little... He's still spending a similar amount of energy even though he's floating. Both players now have moles though, but Mixu's blitz account is far higher. Moles are shelling away from Kytrion. There are 3 of them and they're doing lots of damage, but GG's is called. Is there just too many blitzes? The superchargers clean up the moles. There we go. That's the end of the game. That is all she wrote. Blitzes in the third base as well. 14 workers going down, and now we should go to the next replay. Welcome back, and here we are in game number 2 of this best of 3 series. Mixu is up one game now. And as you might be able to see in the top right hand corner, only one of our players is Genetron, as our little ladder hero Kytrion here has decided to switch to Zaid. Decided Genetron was not quite it in that last game. It was a pretty competitive game still. There was still definitely a difference in the skill level of the players. Decides to go for an expansion first. Bold move here, Mr. Kytrion. Oh wait, look, do you see that? They've got little eyeballs on the front, like a singular eyeball. That's cool. Odd Zayden goes down. Second worker is rallied to also presumably build a Zayden. Yes. Perfect. These are both going to begin lava production nice and early. Feeding pool is going to need to be started here though if he wants to not be supply blocked. Yep. Well done. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Same build as last game, it seems from Mixu. Very, very nice. Second manufacturer is now also going down for him. As well as his node. And you can tell, Mixu has not been particularly lax in the ACR production. He does have mining priority available. Watch his energy, once he uses mining priority, it should go down by 100. There you go. Sick. Look at that. Got that. Anyways, it is simply that these feeding pools have been boosting the production of these workers by a good 7% each. Yes. It's not simply the spawn rate, it does also affect the production rate. You see this, how quick that bar goes? Compared to this bar. Like, look, you can see the bottom down here, it's much faster. Well, I say much faster, it's a little bit faster. But the pool's further and further ahead. Yeah. It's noticeable, especially once you get 3. And it definitely makes a big difference in the long term, though it's not anything too crazy. Third, Zayden is going down, and Roma's on the menu for Kytrion here. Nice. He's taking some inspiration from Eggs and Eggs' early pressure, accepting an expansion first. Much more economical for Kytrion. And these Romas are still going to make their way across the map at a good, quite a good time. Although blitzes are out and they are searching for blood, they shall find it. Blood shall not be spilled. Never mind. No supercharges were used, but 2 overdrives were indeed used to escape the wrath of these Romas. If he did use supercharge, you'd definitely be able to kill at least 2, and he'd potentially lose both in the process. I'm not actually sure who wins. But overdrive, so blitzes have 30 energy. Overdrive you can use twice, as it only costs 15 power, but supercharge uses 20 energy once it fires its weapon. So yeah, you definitely need some processors around, or some processing cores or relay towers around to recharge your energy if you want to play with blitzers to get the maximum benefit. Of course, using blitzers also uses power. So each time it uses 15 energy, it says, you can see down there, it also uses 15 power, which is the global resource. Processing cores and relay towers can convert power to energy. Quite a reasonable rate. 4 energy per 1 power. I'll take that. Yeah, generators are now going down here for Mixu, as neither player has decided to expand to a 3rd base yet. Bile pits in the mineral line, making sure to protect from any later hornets. I do like that choice. As we finally see a chasmless den going down, actually, that's quite late. Ooh, Menlings and Scorpilisks in the middle of the map. Ooh, we have a sacrificial mutation here, sacrificing the life of one of these Menlings for a lot of health regeneration in that circle, but it seems the fight has progressed beyond that. Scorpilisks are doing their best to chase away this Blitzer army, and they are doing a fantastic job, I must say. But they no longer do bonus against light, they just do a flat damage. So they used to be not good against blitzers. But now they are quite reasonable, especially with these mendings behind them. Giving them so much healing. And also a decent chunk of DPS. Yeah. They do not mess around when it comes to the damage. They are so fragile though, and they cost 100 gas each. They are certainly a very good gas dump here for Zaid. Yeah. Oh no, it's 75 gas. Never mind. 1.5 supply. Along with the Zaidling, it's 1.5 supply. The Kaznalisk is your other gas dump. Yeah, if you play Zaid. Excellent. Okay, we have some fabricator going down. How many fabricators do we have? That is the first one. Okay, we have one generator as well. Second generator going down. I love the energy that the power spending here from Mixu. He's really doing a fantastic job at keeping his resources down. Most players, it takes them a long time to get their head around the power mechanic. I haven't really seen anyone actually who's done a particularly great job at using the power when it comes to the macro side of things. Of course in the micro everyone uses power, but Bilepit is going to shoot away at this processor. But Mixu has been doing a very good job at it. He picked it up very quickly. Could still be using mining priorities. There's still a lot of room for improvement. And a lot of these manufacturers are producing normally rather than using overclock, which he does have the power to use. I'm not actually sure what's better. I tend to prefer actually using permanently overclocking all of my manufacturers and simply just consuming the power. Like simply adding on an absurd number of generators to support that. Blitzers though will meet this Scorpius Menling army that Kytrion has produced. Will do a fantastic job at chasing away these blitzers. There's way too much here for Kytrion. He has +1 as well. No upgrades inside here for Mixu. As this Scorpius Menling army is doing a fantastic job at really just killing blitzer after blitzer. No overdrivers available, and these Scorpius are getting right on top of these blitzers, killing so many of them. The Menling's providing so much healing. Look at that. Crazy amount of healing support. There is a mole here now for Mixu, who's target firing down these and just one-shotting these Menlings one by one. I didn't know they could do that. Yeah, it really shows how fragile the Menlings are. But Scorpius everywhere. 21 workers have gone down and this still not gone. Kaznalisks have now made their way across the map as there is a small counterattack of blitzers, which there are more Scorpions here. So they will have a very hard time dealing with those. Really a lot like a Starcraft 1 Zealot. Very tanky, very hard to deal with. High movement speed. Once they get the upgrade of course, which they do have. +2 is almost finished as well. This Virtus is now out. Virtus is a great answer to these Scorpions. They're very tanky. Only have 1 ground armor, but they do damage as well. Look at that. And they do a little bit of splash. However, unfortunately, this Virtus is dead. Oh! Self-fix protocol is going to be used rarely in the nick of time. These repulsors are also going to be able to save the day. Virtus got 5 kills to its name. Very, very nice. Only 100 gas for this bad boy. And 250 minerals, which is not a small amount, but 100 gas is very cheap. But Mixu is in so much trouble. Workers are going to be pulled, and this Virtus is actually going to be able to really just kind of handle things on his own here. What a goat this bad boy is. Look at this. See, bang. He's a tank. Oh no, the Inciter. Okay, I thought it shot the Virtus for a second. Maybe it did. Can you self-fix protocol as often as it wants? Just gets its health back. Nicely done. Also reduces the amount of damage that it takes by 25%, so it's really good. If you have a bunch of Virtuses to use self-fix protocol on the one that's getting attacked, you just reduce the damage that you're taking. But more and more Scorpions are just coming in, and Kytrion is macroing behind this. He has a 4th base, his 3rd is saturated. Mixu is down to only 6 workers against 64. He's got a Virtus and a Dream. He's got plenty of power at least to support this, so he can be very efficient, or very liberal I should say, with his power spending. But it's not a lot that he can do here. More and more Scorpions. He's just piling on the Scorpions. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix. Although this Virtus is broke, so you gotta fix it. Wait, why isn't it getting? Is this a bug? Why wasn't it? Why wasn't it healing? That looks like a bug. Now it's off. Cool. It was great earlier, and he was using it. I'm gonna go take a look at that after this game. Okay, now it works. Maybe it didn't have enough power or something. Interesting. Anyways, another army. Kytrion did decide to lay off the pressure, lay off the gas for a bit. We have another big round of Scorpions here. They have +2 against absolutely zilch. These guys now do so much damage, along with the meddlings. And they have so much tanking. There's Virtus and the moles. Most of these fabricator units are actually a very good answer to Scorpions, but unfortunately we didn't quite have enough of them to deal with these. Inciter is going to do as much as it can, and the Virtus will go down and GG is called. Well done here from Kytrion as he takes the second game. Score is now tied up 1-1. We're now in game number 3 of Mixu vs Kytrion. Kytrion taking off that last game, of course. The score is now tied up 1-1. Down to the rubber match. Is that what they call it? The rubber match? Why is it called the rubber match? I wonder if anyone can tell me why. I would be interested to know. Nevertheless, this is in the losers bracket round 2, so same stage as the Eggs vs Honmono game. If either one of these players loses this game, they will be eliminated from the tournament. And if they win, they'll make it into the top 6, which is the amount, the position required in order to win some money. The top 5th and 6th player place both get $17 US. So yeah. So that at this point they are playing for money, and they're playing for their life in the tournament and the potential to win more games and win more money. So we'll see what they have in store. Double Z Den is going to go down after an expansion first. Same build as last game. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Love the principle. If you're ever doubting yourself in a tournament and you're stressed and you have won one game, just do the same thing, bro. Just do the same thing. And then if they beat that same thing, then you can just do it again. No, I'm just kidding. If they beat that same thing, you can know what they've done differently and you can change it slightly. Or change it completely, up to you. Fix it later. Either way, even if you end up losing, if you did the same thing that you did when you won, at least you won't be kicking yourself for not doing it again. Mining priority is being used here by Mixu to really boost the income of his workers. This was not an ability that was used very much by Honmono in the early game, despite the fact that you can use it right from the get-go. So we're seeing a big difference there already in some of the practice and the knowledge of these players. Spitfires are on the way. Mixu seeming to prefer the Spitfire over the Blitzer in this game. Yeah, no, we have the first Blitzer started. Another third manufacturer coming down as well as a relay tower, which will allow him to overclock these structures. Wait, let's take a look at the tech tree again. Okay, so the tech vault and the outfitting station are unlocked by the manufacturer, but the generator and the assembly array are unlocked by the relay tower. Very convoluted, but well, you could say it's convoluted. I call it really, really interesting because it allows for really, really big variety in how you want to play your early game build as Genetron. Everyone plays it differently. Not that we have a ton of style players, but you know, really, really cool to see so much variety. in this. I thought that said super duper charger, but yes, really big variety in how these matchups end up going. Very cool to see. You get to see everyone use their favorite units and try to make them work in the best way they possibly can. It's so interesting. Like it's so cool, it's so fun. In today's world, in regular Starcraft, people just use what's strongest. And if someone tries to do something that they want to do, often it won't end up working unless your name is like Hero or something. Ooh, Overdrive going to be used. See if he's going to be able to catch this Roma. Barely wears off. Overdrive not doing, not lasting as long as I remember it. I think it was nerfed in duration and movement speed a little bit when it was reduced to 15 power. So now you can use it twice, but it's not as good. Whereas previously you could only use it once, but it was better. Overall, I definitely prefer the current version though. Lots of Scorpilisks being saved up in the main base as Kytrion decides to start making a bunch of Mendlings. Going for the same composition as he did last game, which I love. It's a composition that I believe I was the first to come up with it, Mendling Scorpilisk. Doing it in a little bit of a different way to how I do it though. As you see, Mixu's now moving across the map. A couple of Spitfires and a bunch of Blitzers, and they do have, in fact, +1. Covering Spray is going to be used though on these Scorpilisk here by Kytrion. They do not have the upgrades, so they'll only last for 10 seconds. There we go, before they decloak. And Mixu will be able to shoot them lots more. Kazanilisk's Den is now going down, of course. The Covering Spray upgrade, I believe it's called Persistent Spores, allows this upgrade to last for 50 seconds instead of 10 seconds. So by a factor of, no, not a factor, multiple of 5. Mixu has pulled ahead. No, he has not pulled ahead in the worker supply, but he has pulled ahead in the army supply. He does have a processor with him now, which is going to be able to recharge the energy on these blitzers. Going to significantly improve the DPS if he's able to use all of his supercharges, whilst also, of course, providing detection. Bile Pit is going to go down as the Mixu realizes that the army is at the third base and decides to immediately pull back before he loses any units. Nicely done. Big round of Scorpilisks now also on the production tab as we have a second army here for Mixu. Seemingly waiting to go in. It is going to retreat back to the third base in order to defend against this attack though. No upgrades here yet for Kytrion. The +1 is about to finish. As we see, very good timing here from Kytrion. As the boys get pulled and a truck ton of blitzers show up, and Kytrion's like, well, nope. 2 stagnating bars go down though, and Mixu does not dodge them. That will stun these units for a good 10 seconds. Wait, really? That goes for 10 seconds? No, okay, no, that's supercharged. I'm just like, there's no way that lasts for 10 seconds. It's 4 seconds. I was going to say, I just saw a 10-second cooldown, and it was actually just the supercharger. I'm so confused. The mole also having a very slow turn rate, so it wasn't burrowed in the direction facing the army, so it took a good 2 seconds or so for it to turn around. It's a pretty cool mechanic, honestly. It's a lot like, you know, you might think of it like a siege tank. It's got the same range as a siege tank, but it's really more like a liberator, because it doesn't do a splash, but it does very good DPS. It's got better single target damage in it, especially against it's just like more well-rounded. Anyways, we got a fight at the 4th base location here for Kytrion. Potential 4th base. This is actually the 4th base. Some units go down on both sides. Mixu is currently being more efficient though, as Kytrion has not been able to boast quite the same number of Scorpilisks as he has last game. Or perhaps he has, and it's more that Mixu has more stuff, as well as +1. I would say that's probably making the difference here. I think Mixu's production is a little bit better than last game, and he's also remembering to upgrade his units, which against Scorpilisks who have 2 base armor, it's very important that you at least try to get +1 as soon as you can. You might go, oh, but you in the late game, your attack upgrades are become the same as your opponent's armor upgrades. And I'll say yes, that's very true, but a lot of units, a lot of late game units, get their attack improved by attack damage improved by 2 or more times rather than only once, like these little baby early game units. And Scorpius being a melee unit means they do not scale nearly as well in late game armies as a unit like the Blitzer or the Spitfire or especially the Mole would. Of course, being ranged means that once you reach 200 supply, you'll be able to do a lot more. Spitfire walks into the, or drives rather, into the mineral line, takes out 2 workers and dies. As we see him move out here from Mixu. It has not researched calibrated engines, by the way. I talked to him about this during the tournament. I'm like, hey, why aren't you researching calibrated engines? And he was like, oh, I probably should be. Because he kept complaining about why his Spitfires are so slow. But he did say, I prefer to get +1 over calibrated engines first. And I definitely agree with him there, honestly. Spitfires benefit so much from that first attack upgrade. Especially when fighting an opponent with melee units, where you're trying to do lots of damage. Honestly, going +1 first before going into calibrated engines may actually be the better choice. It also enables you, of course, to then make a second. Wait, where is his thing? A second analysis terminal later in the game when you have more money, and then research calibrated engines and +2 a lot at the same time. So you end up pulling super far ahead of your opponent in upgrades. Anyways, we see a move out here into the third base here of Mixu from Kytrion. He's gonna use a sacrificial words mutation, but a lot of the Scorpions get stuck over here and in this choke point here. So they end up getting killed very, very handily here by Mixu, who's now much further ahead with resources lost, and is going to start chasing this army down and try to pick off these eroders who do a bonus against armored, so they will pick off a good number of blitzes before they go down, but the army realizes that it won't be able to retreat, so it decides to stand and fight. Scorpius once again gets stuck. The last Menling will do its best to run away, and it will be able to do so. By the way, behind all of this, an Olympus has come out. Oh, so sick. Look at this bad boy. Look at it. Look at that. It's so sick. Such a massive structure. You see all the smoke particles coming off it because it's so powerful. It has so much heat and electricity in it. It's just waiting to use the discharge ability on one of these bases. It's pretty much just a nuke. Big nuke. Yeah, about that calibrated engines upgrade though, you definitely want to get it before getting +2. These units are very slow now, but they do a truck ton of damage as they have +3 attack, and these Scorpions do not have a single armor upgrade. These guys are doing so much damage. There's like a +3 Marine going against only +2 attack Zerglings. This is not how you want it to go. These Scorpions are getting absolutely melted, but they are still getting good damage done. Managed to pick off a couple of moles, but look at that! Oh my goodness, they just get absolutely destroyed. As the lack of armor upgrades is just so impactful here for these Scorpions against these Spitfires. The moles putting in and the blitzers with the supercharge putting in lots of work in as well. No Olympus discharge being used just yet, I believe. Please can we see that before the end of the game? Please can we see that before the end of the game? Please! As Mixu's decided not to push his luck just yet, although probably could have won. Then again, that's a big round of Scorpions. Lone Fixer here doing his best to repair this army. As some units stay behind to kill his 5th base and others come and try to defend his moles. But that's probably a little too late if the moles go down. You know, we only have half the army fighting all these Scorpions, so... And they do have +3 attacks, so they pack a punch as well. They're going to get a bit better value than the last fight, but my goodness, look at that difference. Oh no, and the discharge being used at the natural, so they can't retreat home. Discharge is going to go down. Are we going to see it hit anything? No, okay, it hits all the structures. Kytrion manages to pull back, but it's too little too late. Lots of Moth mining time as well. Mixu just moving in. Look at his power production. He has 18 nodes and 8 generators. Power for days. As Kytrion taps out, GG, and Mixu will advance further into the tournament. Well done, Mixu. This was a very good game. He was asking me what to do about these Scorpilisks. There's not a very simple answer. Probably I would say, yeah, blitzes with a lot of energy. So if you have blitzes without too much energy, doesn't do great. But if you focus a lot more on energy production over quality over the blitzer production, then you can essentially just keep spamming these two together. Otherwise, of course, those attack upgrades are so important. Well played here by Mixu, and I'll see you guys in the next video.